See, have you heard about hair depression? There seems to be a topic of conversation online.
Yes, 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 yes. So for those that aren't familiar, within the Black community, there's this phenomenon called hair depression, in which we have mood swings and mood changes, and we feel not our best self if our hair isn't what we desire it to be, right? So if there is this conflict between, I need my hair to look like this so I can feel this way, when it's not, there are these moments of sadness,
Mhm,
of low self esteem, of
mhm.
feeling like you won't be seen, respected, or liked, right? Or comfortable enough to even interact. That's hair
Interesting.
depression.
That's interesting because I heard about this and I heard about it on TikTok and I made a
Hmm.
TikTok about it. And while I am not a therapist, so if you're joining for the first time, my name is Aisha. I'm a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Illinois. I'm the CEO and creative director of Black Girl Curls. And you guys are joining us for a Black Girl Curls podcast.
Yes, yes.
See, would you mind? I'm not big on introducing people because I feel like people can introduce themselves. I'm horrible with that. I'm so horrible.
All good, all good, all good. I am a licensed psychotherapist and I practice in 4 states: Alabama, Georgia, DC, and Ohio. I'm also a graduate of the illustrious Howard University. Always have to give big ups there, but I specialize in the care and keeping and wellness of Black women.
I love it.
Yes.
So, what I was saying was, I came across this concept on TikTok and I listened to it was a young girl speaking
Mm-hmm.
about it. And she was speaking about like her hair not being fresh, like you get it done and then it gets old.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of me, and again, I told y'all I was not a therapist, but I do work with a lot of people, and I have real discussions with the
Yeah.
women and men that I come across in my salon. And part of me is like, part of that is in this idea of the hair is supposed to look the same the entire time.
Of course it is, right? We spend this money, we need for it to be popping every day.
No. And the idea, my other piece of this is that there are a lot of women,
Hmm.
and I mean others. I'm not, trying to miss anybody,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of people who just don't know how to do their hair, what's possible with it, what it could and should like. And I didn't go to
Yes.
school and I didn't go to the illustrious Howard University to find this
Hmm.
out, right? No shade, see, I'm just playing.
You good.
Just keeping the Gucci. No, so that's what I looked at, or how I
Hmm.
processed it as
Hmm.
a person who's seeing this from the outside. Like, what are we?
Right, right. So I think you brought up a really good point, Aisha. You said people like laymen, right? Like me, I didn't go to cosmetology school, honey. All the women in my hair have family down to their behinds, but we don't know how to care for our hair. We weren't taught, right, how to, this is the kind of texture that you have. These products work best. Don't do this to your hair or with your hair. It will not last. And I remember even like as a child, my mother, she would, Lord have mercy, she would say things like, oh, you can't get extensions or you can't get braids. Like, we don't do that with our hair. Um, that's a whole different story. Okay. There was
It's another.
colorism.
It's another topic. I know.
Yes.
I know. I feel
Okay.
you.
But I just remember not necessarily being taught or learned or trained in how to do our hair, right? Which is such a contrast from what our ancestors used to do, right? If we look at the women in Ghana, that's what they do, right? By a certain age, you know how to do certain hairstyles. And if these hairstyles are mastered, if this level of hair care is mastered, you go on into womanhood. So I think for us, we depend heavily on stylists. Some stylists I've learned are not necessarily licensed or cosmetologists or understand the nuances of hair and okay, what's going to work and what's not going to work. So I think that for some people, when they, when they get a fresh cut or when they get their hair styled at home, they have no tools to keep that up, right? So if I got to get my hair done on Wednesday, because that's the only time she can get me in, and Saturday is my event or my big thing, probably by Saturday, I'm not looking or feeling as cute, right? As polished, as well put together as I was on Wednesday when I hopped out the chair.
I hear that, and I mean I have to plan when I actually do my hair first, like when certain things are going on. In fact, I did my hair before we went live today because I had not done it. Oh God, it was well over 10 days. It might have been 14. I don't even remember, but I knew I couldn't go another day, and there was
Right.
nothing I could do like to make it look polished today. But you brought up something that was really, really key in terms of when we came over here, right? We're talking because it's like a lot of the conversation around our hair involves money, politics, social stuff. So it's socio-economic, it is historical, and there's some mindset things that are at play here. So if you bring us here, right? And I saw this, it's on YouTube somewhere. There's this little doc. I don't even know how I came across it. It's called 400 Years Without a Comb. I never ever forgot this video because what it talked about was the fact, this is early on in my natural, like when I went natural, I came across this video, that when we were bought here, we were bought without our things. So if you don't have your stuff, do your hair, and your hair is not a priority because
survival, yes.
You're in a new place, you don't speak the language, the language is different, the weather is different, having to deal with stress. Okay. There is no time for hair.
There is no time for hair. And that same, certainly I'm not comparing where we are right now to that of our ancestors, but we know that epigenetics plays a role, right? The passing down of health issues, or what we call intergenerational transmissions of behaviors and thoughts from our great, all the way down. I think it's important that we remember that Black women or Black men, Black persons who have this kind of hair growing out of their head, regardless of where you fall on the, what is it, the 4C, 5AB?
Girl, the chart, we don't do the chart over here. We just can't get it. It's like some things I'm just not going to, I can't even do that chart. You know what I mean? I'm not on it.
Right. So it's like, regardless of what your texture is, I think for Black women, we are already in this prison of stress anyway, just from living our daily lives, just literally from waking up and existing, right? We're already in this level of stress.
Right.
So in the same vein that you mentioned your ancestors, right? Hair was not a priority. For a lot of Black women, hair isn't necessarily a priority. It's a necessity, right? To check off the plate. It's like, yes, I got my hair done, right? So now I have enough capacity and I can focus on, what do my kids need? What is my boss asking me for? Did I eat today? Right? These very basic needs of care and wellness.
Right.
And a lot of times women will come in my office. So when I opened my practice some years ago, one of the advertisements said something like, sis, if you got to come in your bonnet, honey, come in your bonnet.
I love it.
You are welcome in this space. If you have to come and half of your hair is down because you're taking your braids out, baby, come.
Yeah.
Sit, right?
Yeah.
So we think about that and this understanding that we have as sisters. That same grace and understanding is not given to us in other spaces.
So we're not giving it to ourselves.
Hello?
I just saw today, I was scrolling through Instagram, and this is still related. I follow Jackie Aina. I'm sure a lot of Black women follow her. And she made this post like something about somebody saw the lace on her wig lifted when she was with Rihanna. And it was like, but she was with Rihanna though. Like, that wasn't even the focus of the. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? And she said it. She addressed it. I forgot like see what she said. I will probably put a video down here because we need to be reminded that we need to extend more grace to one another.
Yes.
But she was like, yeah, my lace was showing and your gums were showing. And that was because also we're gonna clap back, right? Also, we're gonna clap back.
Every time.
Leave me alone. Like
every time.
Me like alone. Leave. We need to leave each other. And I'm like a lot of y'all. I'm from the Midwest. We love to play the dozens.
We call it Joan and where I'm from, right? From DC. Joan.
Yeah, Jonesy.
Yes.
We like to play that with people that we are comfortable with. Also, on top of that, we do not have to like type or, verbally say the things that we're actually thinking. Okay.
So to that point, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because what I'm finding is social media has created this space for people to do and say things that they would never say in person, right? This level of protection that the screen and the keyboard add. When that lace lifted comment was made, it immediately reminded me of when other folks would look at us, right? Our plaits, or however maybe your grandmother's mother had done her hair, and immediately, no matter how smart we were, none of those things matter. It was, you look unkept, right? Or the word, some people probably have never heard this, but the word pickaninny, right? I remember that word being used if little girls didn't have their hair done when I was in school. Yes.
Wait, I remember. What year did you graduate from high school?
I mean, and I graduated in 2000, right? So I'm not even like far removed.
I mean, you're close in age to me. Okay. That makes sense. I graduated in 97, but also you're also like, you're in the DMV area. You're very close to the South. So that kind of makes sense that somebody would say that. I wouldn't hear it here in Chicago because we're very, what I'm saying, we're right in the middle of everything. Right. And we're more northern, right?
Right.
So
DC is right below the Mason, the official line of the South. But I do remember that straight hair was best. I remember begging my mom, because our hair is curly and big. And I remember like begging her, can you please put a perm? It's a relaxer, but can you please, Mom, can I get a just for me, please? Like,
yes,
like, please, like, I'm tired of being teased, right? Or hearing things like the teachers say, well, look at that little nappy head child.
Because
your hair this morning.
Because nothing is nice about nappy headed. You know what I'm saying? Like you mean to cut low when you call somebody. Like the intention is low. It's
absolutely low. That connotation very much is
ugly.
It's based in in ugliness, right? The almost like minstrel.
Yes.
Life, right. Yes. So when someone is talking about your head, that they're talking about your blackness. That.
But it's not, it feeds into self-hate. Because as I say this all the time, what I actually do is I'm changing mindsets. As much as I'm doing here, as much as I'm teaching people about hair, I'm literally shifting people's mindsets about the hair, right?
Yes.
And so these ideas that we have about our hair are things that have been passed on to us from people who made us dislike ourselves.
Right. So we have that level of internalized racism, right? That internalized hate, right? So someone projecting these things onto us, and then we interjecting them and making them a part of our basic cognitions, thoughts, and beliefs about ourselves.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget, early in my career, I supported a woman, and she had such a horrible experience with some really harsh chemicals in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so she couldn't wear her hair as she normally did, which was straightened and probably, curled or whatever. And the what we call the loop, right? The negative cognitions that would play in her mind were those from her childhood about her being black and ugly. And
Mm.
even as this adult woman who had come, through her life, I believe she, was born in like the deep South, she was not able to look in the mirror and see her hair, her plaits, however her hair was styled in those moments, as anything but unkept, black, and ugly. She just kept saying, I just keep hearing them saying, oh, you're so ugly, you're so ugly. And so when I look at people like you, Aisha, the mere understanding of one's hair and what products to use and what styles work changes lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not take for granted the work that I've gotten to do since I started doing this when did we start this? 2015. Only because I've been doing my hair since I was 13. But I also knew when I went natural, like in 11, I was like, no, it can't be this. This can't be it. Like everybody's spending 8 hours. It's taking me 6 to 8 hours to do my
Okay.
own. Why is this? And I'm still, the thing about it that's really, really like, I feel like we don't mind like the toxic relationship that we have with all
Right.
these things, right? Because I spent the 6 to 8 hours doing the hair that could have cut off, but then I want to cut it off. You know what I'm saying?
But wait a minute. But if you did, right? If
Right.
you right now said big chop time, just it's what it is, and you recorded it and you posted it in the comments, you would find people shaming you
Yes.
for making the best decisions for you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I have gotten berated for cutting somebody else's hair.
Mm,
You can't even show a
mm,
haircut video online. I
no,
recently
ma'am.
saw a stylist go like, y'all, before y'all get started, me and the client already talked about this.
Right.
Like people have
But
such
they
a
act like you just the client sits down and you just go, whoop, let me cut it. Like this is a choice, a
visceral
decision.
visceral reaction. It's you would think that we cut the big vein in somebody's wrist and they were bleeding everywhere. The way that people react about hair being cut,
Yeah.
that needs to leave. It needs to go.
Oh my goodness.
It is, yeah,
But
it's
that's just
strange.
how attached our hair is to our identity. And even
Mm,
more so, more of a European style of hair attached to our identity, right? I remember, I think it was Good Hair in that documentary where Chris Rock says something like, "Well, I can sell my hair," and the gentleman, the store owner, was like, "Oh no, people don't want that,
you
right?"
know, that's like at the time seeing that at that moment in time, I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure if I watched it, because I was just thinking about that documentary like recently, like this as recent as this week.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that if we were to watch it current day, we would be so offended on
100.
so many levels. I just know
100.
that the fact that Chris Rock was even, no shade to Chris Rock, but the fact that a man was exploring women's hair and it was sort of comedic. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
from this
Mm-hmm.
warm, place. And he was doing it
Right.
for his daughters.
Yes.
It just wasn't, I don't know. Looking at
No,
it now,
there definitely, I think that there were some things in that documentary that were trivialized,
mm-hmm,
that didn't necessarily have the soul
mm-hmm.
that it has if maybe a woman were exploring it, because a man will never be able to identify or understand the relationship that we have with our hair. People will not go places like, and I'm not talking about running to the store, I'm talking about to a wedding,
Missing
I'm talking
events.
about if their hair is not done, right? Mama's not
Listen.
going to church on Sunday if she is not in the chair on Saturday. So while I'm sure that men too need their hair, love their hair, it is not the same from the vantage point of a man. So
It's not. And I also think if we think about current day 2024, with the addition of social media has taken it to a whole new height.
whole new
Whole new height.
level.
First of all, natural hair is the hardest hair to film and photograph.
Really?
Oh my God. Especially, well, when we're talking about using smartphones.
Okay.
Hard. It's difficult. It never
Mm.
looks as good as it does in
Okay.
person.
Okay, wait a minute. Cause you literally, when I wash or I'll do my hair, I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks cute. And then I go to take a picture and I'm like,
It's not
that's
translating.
not what I'm seeing.
This not translating. It's not. I always tell people a couple of things. One, like with me personally, because people see me a lot. One, my hair don't look like this in person.
Interesting.
It actually looks, it's bigger.
Ah, okay.
So the camera does on our bodies, it makes our bodies look big, but it makes our hair small. This is why in film and TV they wear wigs and extensions to plump the hair up so that it looks good on TV. Not to say that that person's hair doesn't look good to film. It's just not going to translate on TV because then you're going to get distracted and be like, "Ooh, her hair, that's all the hair she got. They couldn't put a little wig on it or something." You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, we can't just watch something for the context that it was supposed to be in. Her hair was
right. We're gonna be looking at the head.
They looking at the head. So no, it doesn't film well. Now I have been on shoots. I have participated in shoots. I mean, I have done hair for shoots. The hair that I've gotten to do. In fact, if you guys happen to go into Ulta and you see the curl mix end cap, there's a set like an area where there's like the models. I think there's done individually, but those are the girls whose hair I did.
Nice.
The hair looks amazing on there. But I'm telling you, and I also do hair different for shoots.
Okay.
It's not the same hair that I'm doing. Like if you came to me and we did your hair today, you're like, okay, let's pretend that today is Thursday and you got something to do on Saturday. I'm styling your hair for Saturday. On Thursday because I know how to do that.
Wow.
I also know how to, like with wash and goes, I know how to make a wash and go look like it's 3 to 5 days old today.
Immediately. Nice.
Yes. That's a skill set, right?
Okay.
But the thing is, it doesn't look as good. So people are like, "Oh, your hair look dry." Like if one more person sends me a message or comments like your hair looks dry, they're getting blocked. First of all, you don't even get to be a part of this free content that I have going on over here.
Protect your peace. Just protect.
Second of all, like it's annoying. I've been hearing this since 2015. I've been having this dry hair since 2015 that hits my shoulders. Most people don't have hair curly,
right?
Hitting around their shoulders like this. But my hair is dry. Let's put some context clues together. Because if my hair was really as dry as you all are saying that it is,
wouldn't it break?
Wouldn't it be right? Wouldn't it break? Wouldn't it be up to my ear? Come on now, let's put it together. So we got so much. We've got that right. Then we got this. I've come through this whole thing. I've been watching this whole space since 2009. So I'm not even super new to this. I actually started out as a beauty blogger. And what was getting amplified was the hair that looked a certain way. I call it shiny hair syndrome. We love a certain kind of hair. And so if everybody's liking that hair, it's going to get catapulted and the person with it gets pushed to the front. Correct. And it's not their fault that they have a certain kind of hair.
Right.
But we have to take ownership of amplifying them.
Right. 100%. Right. So that takes us back to the colorism piece that takes us back to, okay, well, we can do a curl, but we don't want to do a kink.
Also, at that time, between '09 until we came on the scene, most people didn't even know how to style the tighter curls.
Wow. Do you remember? Because I went natural like my second or third year in college, right? Like it was okay to walk around campus with natural hair, which
So
was
when
a
you say natural
first.
hair, like just a fro?
Like just a fro or twist or not relaxed.
Okay.
And so I started growing out relaxers never straightened my hair anyway for some reason that's for you to like figure
Same.
out.
No, same. I got a super perm.
My hair was just always wavy all the time. So I was like, let's not do this. Let's just see what it looks like. So I did that. And I remember like scouring the internet for like, what do I use? And there was a company, I don't know if I can say the name, is that?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So it was Miss Jessie's.
Yes.
That was all I used to buy, all I could find. I didn't know what to do, what to put, how to
Shingle shake.
Like I didn't know what to do because again, I had only been used to doing a roller set in my hair because it was relaxed. So when we even think about how these certain, because if you think of, to your point, Aisha, when we look back at shows that were for Black people, even looking at the characters on the show, what their hair was doing. Or it was always the little girl. The little girl was usually light skinned. She had some sort of really fine textured or curly hair, right? But it wasn't very often that you would see someone that had thick, tightly coiled hair being front and centered.
Because we weren't there yet. We weren't
so
there.
far
So
away.
if I think about when I was growing up watching TV, so I grew up, I'm a Cosby Show girl. Whatever y'all feel about Bill Cosby, I can't take away what the influence and impact that show had on my life, right? So we had Rudy, and Rudy had very, very dense, juicy, like her braids. You're like, how did her braids get so juicy? She had very juicy hair. I felt like whatever they were doing, it was very, very much mirror of New York. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like the fashion sense, because nobody in my city dressed like the people on the Cosby Show.
Right.
But it was very eclectic, New York. It makes sense, right?
Yes.
Now, when they moved over to a different world, we got exposed to some more stuff. And here comes Freddie, right? With this hair. I had never seen anybody with hair like that. So I just could not. I thought her hair was so pretty, but I could not conceptualize. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't conceptualize her hair.
Well, how does it,
where does that hair come from? Who's that? And the McDonald's commercials of that time. If people were to find old McDonald's commercials from the early 90s, even the late 80s, very late, like 89, no, I would say 90 to about 97. Most of the McDonald's commercials that had Black people in it had curly hair. Nobody seemed to pay attention to that. I was like, McDonald's had been putting curly hair in I don't know if it was their real curly hair. It was never like a girl with a French roll. It was literally people.
And I love that on the Cosby Show, even when like Rudy would wear her hair out, it wasn't
silky.
It wasn't like
bone straight,
hot combed into submission.
It was
still very full. You knew it was Black hair.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It was big.
It was big. It was beautiful. And it was she has a lot of hair. Like she just naturally has a lot of hair. But yeah, we grew up with that, right? And so we have those small images of Black hair. So I could only imagine. I didn't go to a HBCU, but I've heard this story of being at the HBCU, being like, you know what? Bump this little relaxer.
I mean, it was so like, I remember the last relaxer. It was that pivotal of a moment. I remember just like, I'm safe here. Like, we're safe here. It's okay.
And you were safe on your campus.
It was just, it was amazing. That was like the first place that I didn't have to make sure like my, it just was like bone straight. I didn't have to do any of that. I just like, I could wash it and then figure out, and then there might be a grid on the heart that would say, okay, let me try this, or it was really like this community.
Mm-hmm.
It was a community versus when I tried to get my mother to go natural, and she was like, for what?
Who, me?
I don't get that. Like, it's like, okay. So, but even so, my daughter, she's an adult now, and from a little girl, I always just praised just whatever came out of her head, right? And she has Rudy type hair. That's how her hair is.
Okay.
And just in its natural state, she has never wanted to relax it. She actually mentioned, we were talking one day, she said, thank you, because that's not a battle I have to, contend with. I'm like, I'm good. And I was like, yes,
you won.
Right?
Congratulations.
I didn't want her to go through what I went through, or, having a chemical burn is not fun.
No, it's not.
Right?
Several.
Burning your ear, whether it's a curling iron or the straight comb,
the steam.
Not.
The steam. The steam alone.
Yes.
The steam alone that you was like, you burning me. They're like, I ain't burning you. It's the steam. That I do not miss any of that at all.
And for her to be comfortable within her own skin, for her to be comfortable with her hair. And girl, when I say she just does so many just beautiful things, and I'm just like, yes, parenting win.
Yes, because you shifted the narrative, right? Shifting the narrative around something that when I think about growing up, first of all, I have way more hair than my mom, and my mom's not a hair girl.
Okay.
When people talk about, like, when I hear white moms talking about how difficult, I was like, girl, meet my black mama. She and you have so much in common. She could not comb hair either. Okay. So we're starting from that place of you didn't know what to do, right?
Nope.
Times.
My sister used to do my hair. My mother was like,
no, thank you.
These things, the little balls. She was just like,
no, sister.
So my sister, 7 years older, she would do my hair in the mornings, or she would cornroll it. Like, every black mama doesn't know how to do it.
Every black mama does not know how to do hair. I just want to put that out there real quick. Here we are, two black women with two black mamas, and neither one of our black mamas could do black hair.
Could not.
So I want us to stop. And I'm saying this with love. I really want us to stop this narrative of this whole, it's combing hair is a skill set that anybody could learn to do on any kind of hair, because there are black mamas who got kids with hair that is nothing like theirs, which that is a shared experience if you're a white mama, because you may have a child who has hair, and I said may, because sometimes the hair is like the mama's and sometimes it's not, but you may have, and just because it has a little corkscrew curl, that you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. My mama never learned. She didn't prioritize it. But she was like, oh, okay, you in 7th grade now? Cool.
Have fun.
Get this relaxer. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. I'm done combing your hair.
Yep.
And from 13 on, I done cut bangs, burned my hair, and all kinds of things.
Because even when we look at that, we think about even the stress and the hair exhaustion that your mom was like, finally, she can do her own hair.
You know what? That's a form of hair. That has to be a form of hair depression, even as a parent.
Yes, that same amount of energy. Because I remember, so I tell this story all the time. I remind my daughter, because I'm just that sentimental mother. So she was maybe almost a year, and she was sitting in my lap, and I was trying to do something to her hair, put bows or something. Her first sentence, she turned around and she said, "No hair, mommy." And I was like, oh my God, like she just spoke, but she spoke about her hair. Right? So I used to braid her hair when she was asleep. She was really tender-headed, had all this hair, but was tender-headed. So I remember, okay, Saturday, I'm gonna do Nadia's hair. That meant I had to section it and wash it so I could get to the scalp because her hair was
Yes.
so dense.
Yes.
Then I had to detangle and comb it out. Lord help me. Here goes some candy. Eat the candy while I comb your hair out.
Yeah, right.
Quiet down. Then blow dry it. Then I would somehow flat iron and or press it out some kind of way.
Oh my
Put
God.
the little things in it. She would go to school and come back home the next day, and all my work is gone. 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 Right. So that's even doing her hair and then having to do my own, right? The capacity. You know how when you wake up on a
Yes.
Monday, you go, I got to go to work or I got to do these things.
Yes.
There is an exhaustion
Yes.
that sets in for us as we anticipate the labor,
Yes.
the time,
Yes.
the effort, the product
So,
in order to do our hair.
and then couple that with not knowing what to do. Do you know what I'm saying? If
Honey,
you add that with not knowing what to do, because I will tell you this, as long as I had actually last year sometime, I had a model come in and she was sharing with me that she has depressive episodes. And we had a very thoughtful conversation about it
good.
because one, as a hairstylist, my ultimate goal for me is to understand the lifestyle of the individual I'm working with, because I'm not going to give her instructions
Right.
that I gave to my client who is not experiencing depressive episodes and who has, one child and she has 3. I'm not giving them the same instructions. Now, the instructions are to cleanse, condition, and style for everybody. That's everybody's instructions. I don't care who you are, what color you are, if your hair is short, long, tight curl, loose curl. Okay. So when we were talking, she's like, yeah, I have these depressive episodes. I said, do you have an idea? And I was like, I'm no therapist, but do you have an idea when you feel like you're on your way in?
Good.
Like, do you have a feeling like it's about to go down? Because if you do, I want you to cleanse your hair, condition it, and put leave-in conditioner and braid it up. That way, when you come out of your episode, your hair will not be tangled. It won't be matted, and you won't be overwhelmed thinking about, oh my God, like I got to do my hair. It's going to take me 3 to 4 hours to do. And this is actually going to take you very little time, because just cleansing, just conditioning, and just putting leave-in conditioner on your hair could take you 1 hour to do. And I don't think 1 hour is a lot of time to ask somebody and to do their hair.
Because what you just did there was you listened.
Yes.
Right? You listened to what your client said, and you didn't dismiss the fact that this woman says, I deal with the depression. Because remember, we still look at people like, well, what you mean? Well, what you got to be depressed about? Well, what's wrong? Right? Not understanding that these are sometimes situational and chemical interruptions. So to say to this client, I hear you, I understand, and here's how I can support you and help you. What you were asking her was to identify her dissent behaviors.
Yes.
Right? What she notices and feels when she is going into that place of lower mood, maybe even lower energy, focus, concentration, and capacity.
Yes. And I've heard from her, and she, like, her hair looks good. She seems to be in like a better place. But I could imagine if you experience depressive episodes, or the overwhelming thoughts around your hair, just be like, oh, I just don't want to, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't have the space. And
it's a cycle.
It's an ongoing cycle. Like, I have to do my hair when my son is not even present, because me being with him, I have to watch him more often because he's neurodivergent.
Right.
And so I can't some days I could, like, I have to be real clear, like, okay, mommy's, and if I do, it's one of those quick, like my client who experiences depressive episodes, I got to wash my hair like that. If it's me and him, if I have time, like, during school hours, then I can actually do my hair and go slow and take all the time I want to take, have the energy and the capacity. So that's it right there. What you said was acknowledging capacity. I think that's something we all individually have to do, because we always get a lot of flack at Black Girl Curls, like, oh, all y'all ever wear is wash and goes. And it's like, that's actually what I have the capacity to do. Like, and you have to decide for yourself, What do you have the capacity for?
Right. And just that when you say that people say, oh, you always do this thing. Well, I always do this thing because it works for me. Right.
As you
And
should do. What
for
works for you.
you, right? For yourself, right? So it's like not being pressured to live up to somebody else's standard of what your hair should be, because like you said, your lifestyle, your
Yes.
capacity, your knowledge, the
Yes.
tools that you have. Please
Yes.
don't ask me to curl anything. I cannot use a curling iron to save my life.
They have salons for that.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
That's funny. They have salons for that.
Yeah, and I keep two stylists on deck, and I keep a wig artist on deck because sometimes I get a call, I got to show up, and I got 2 hours to get there. Where's the wig? Where's the wig? Right? Other times I can go in and they can decondition me, and she can work it out. She can put some Olaplex in, and we can do all the things, and she can trim me, and I can get some clip-ins if I want. But just typically my skill set with my hair is very limited. And I think, and I'll self-disclose, there are moments where I have like really, really juicy tidbits, right, to share with my sisters. And I don't record it because I don't feel like posting and somebody say something out of pocket. And then I gotta clap back, and then I'm called into question as a therapist.
Now here's what I'm gonna tell you. Just one one present subject matter expert to another. Listen, somebody posted something the other day. It was like the people's ability to comprehend is low, right?
Ooh.
So, and then also look at what they're saying. Like, nah, not even about to waste a keystroke on this. I'm giving people who don't comprehend well grace, actually, by not responding.
Just go
Just
on.
let them go. Just let them go. But I think, your voice in that area, just because now the conversation around like therapy and getting with the right people and centering people's feelings and folks being heard. And like, I think it's important. I think it's really important because it's just like that. We get, listen, I always say I'm shallow. I am. I'm shallow, I'm real shallow, but I'm also kind of deep. I exist in two places.
Two things can be true.
I'm shallow and deep, right? But I'm very much about getting with the proper experts. That's just, that's not going to change. Like if somebody in our private community over in See Some Crows was sharing some challenges that she was having with itching, and it's like, okay, I'm triggered because where is the itch? Is the itch in your crown?
I get it.
Like have been experienced. I'm like, if the itch is in your crown, you need to stop not stop everything you're doing, but the next course or the next plan of course or whatever, you need to be seeing your PCP or a derm. That all bets are off at that point.
I just came into, I don't know if I was reading or researching, but exactly what you just said about that crown area itching and how, no, don't put grease on it. Don't put grease on it.
Please don't put grease on there.
Go to the doctor.
And not to be like alarming, but that itch, that crown itch is CCCA. Now don't ask me to tell you all the letters mean because I forget, but it's centrifugal something alopecia, and it is a form of alopecia that is prevalent specifically in Black women.
And we don't know the signs.
We don't know the signs. We also, the medical community has no link to it right now. They have yet to figure out what is causing this. But the sooner, because I've seen different levels of CCCA. I've seen where like there's little to no hair, because once that follicle is damaged, the minute you see something shiny on that scalp,
It's not coming back.
It's not coming back. And there's a dermatologist. Her name is Dr. Yolanda Lindsay. She's actually one of the derms who is like very much like into CCCA studying and all, everything. She's written a beautiful book too. But she always says that time is follicles. The more time you take, the more follicles you lose.
Wow.
And so like the minute you experience, like you're like, okay, maybe it's my shampoo, right? You change shampoo and you still experience the itch.
Yeah.
You need to see somebody.
Yeah.
Because by the time you start talking about it with a hairstylist, one, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. And two, we're gonna have to direct you either to a PCP or a board certified dermatologist. Right. So just little stuff like, I won't say little stuff, but things like that, which as a hairstylist, I'm seeing the hair loss.
Yeah.
It's not rare. There's a lot of people experiencing different forms because alopecia has over 20 forms. Wow. There's over 20 forms of alopecia.
And I think the one that I see people comment the most about is usually like traction alopecia.
Traction is the one that we actually can minimize.
So I want to ask you this question. So if I'm seeing, like the hairstylist video, I'm scrolling, and so sometimes there'll be videos where clearly there is significant hair loss, right? And even sometimes you can see inflammation in the skin, and then they'll be like, oh, let me put some glue on this and put this unit on it.
Detrimental. Here's what we have. We have clients who want to look a certain way. And they go to stylists who, and I'm not saying, let me be clear, I'm not saying this is all hairstylists, because some hairstylists are literally just gluing wigs on people's hair, not caring for the hair underneath. They're literally just gluing it on. You actually have some stylists like, okay, baby girl, we've been in these wigs. It's time to come out. You got to come out the wig. We're going to take a break and we'll revisit when it's a good time for you to go back in the wig, or moving them over to maybe take a break, maybe a sew-in instead. So values, right? What do you value? What do you value, right? Because the minute I see like, I done experienced hair loss all throughout, the Rona. So any 20 up until now, my hair grew, it broke off, it grew again. I lost some hair because of COVID. So I've seen all these different, transgressions of my own hair. And I'm also like, okay, let me do the lease. You know what I'm saying? Lease. Right. Let me practice just doing a lease. And so some people aren't paying attention or just not as observant about things they're seeing, or they're like, oh, it was like that last month. But what started, small like this, now here, before we paid attention to it. You know what I mean?
I think it's so important to, as with anything, right? Because we always, in the wellness community, we're always talking about creating a life that's livable, right? Creating a life that's doable, creating a life that you don't have to escape from.
Yeah.
But we never talk about how hair regimen, hair care is a part of that overall wellness, right? That alignment with a person's lifestyle. We don't talk about that nearly enough, but we will talk about is who's trending and how can I get my hair, whether it's a unit or whatever, how can I look like that? And it's like, well, she has a team, right?
Right.
She probably took that off before she went to bed.
Did.
Right. You don't know how she's caring for her hair under that. So let's not put that on you.
Right. But okay, so to add to what you're saying, thinking about like where natural hair, like this isn't the first wave of natural hair. This is correct. Whatever wave it is, right? But this particular wave, a natural that started around 2009, 2010, this is the natural who was being more conscious about their well-being. Because you have people getting healthy.
It's holistic.
It was holistic, right? Also, you remember there was that whole conversation of fibroids that really goes back to the late 90s, early 2000s. And so you had all those people who either had them, experienced them through a friend, family, or coworker, making a conscious decision like, oh no, I'm not getting these relaxers no more. So that that pivot from relaxers wasn't just like going natural. It was really about holistically getting healthy.
Yeah.
So when we did like a breakdown of who the natural hair girl was, it was she made over 50 grand a year. She had a decent job. She was aspirationally creative. And she was getting she was living a healthy lifestyle, and so that healthy lifestyle also spilled into her hair. So most of the people that I work with who are like committed to being natural, they're the people who have always been natural. It's like, girl, I
Right.
never had a perm, so I don't even know.
Look at it.
Y'all met me actually. I've been on trend actually. Y'all late because I've been here. And then you have the people who like it just became a part of their lifestyle, using less product. And then you have another part of that where there are people who like, I only use like clean products. There's that part of the conversation. So like there's all these different areas where people exist, but there is some wellness attached to, because also we have a woman who's in our community who was a wig wearing girl, had been wearing wigs almost 10 years nonstop.
Wow.
And she decided that she just is like, I'm over it and I'm gonna just wear my hair. Hair is growing beautifully. In the last, I think like 6 months, she's gotten color. She works out. So like it's not distracting from her overall wellness.
Right.
So, I just went natural because I was trying to see something. It was nothing deeper. See how shallow I am? I told you I was shallow. I just wanted to see. I'm just trying to see something. But with all that being said, I've gone through and I never hit a depressive episode with being natural. Now I did go through this period when I big chopped. It took me a big chop like a month after I decided to transition. And I went through this period where I wore a full face of makeup for about a month.
Yep.
Because I felt comfortable there. I didn't have no hair. This is the first time that I had hair this short since I was born into the world.
Right. And I'm so there's this desire to be like, okay, wait, if my hair can't make me feel a certain way, right? And at least I gotta have something on my face.
Something got to be on his face.
That lasted though. Can't do both.
4 weeks it lasted. But what doesn't, like you said, things that don't get talked about is like going through this dramatic change. Not traumatic, dramatic. Changing your hair color, dramatic. It takes you like a couple weeks to get used to seeing yourself. Like you like it, but you also like, it's strange seeing myself like this.
Absolutely.
Even changing how your hair is colored, because my color has changed the way my hair is colored, right? And I had to adjust my eyes to seeing my hair this way. Like it's just, I don't dislike it. It's just different than how I used to color it. So when I think about like chopping off your hair, you've always had long hair, and I'm not that attached to my hair. I want to be clear about that. I'm not super attached to it, but I've always had, even when it was short, like I had a stupid, like my bang was banging. But to go from that period of finding what made me comfortable, like, and I think the same for everybody else, like the depression really, in terms of hair depression, is getting comfortable with seeing yourself a way, or figuring out in that way, how do you, and I always say this to everybody, how do you want to be seen?
Yeah.
You don't have to wear watch though.
Yes, because that literally, when we talk about the hair depression piece, we can't talk about that without just identity, right? And how hair is really big for Black women. It is part of our identity. So as you change it, it's going to take your core self to kind of catch up with the reflection in the mirror.
Yes.
Very similar to when I support patients who have undergone like gastric bypass or gastric sleeve surgery. There is a disconnect between what the brain is used to seeing. If you think of it like a file cabinet, it's like it goes through these images and it goes, oh yeah, that fits. I remember that. But then when it gets to this new thing that you're doing, the brain like halts and it's like,
I also have experienced that too.
Let me figure this out.
I've experienced that weight loss.
Yeah.
You're smaller, but you still feel fat. Like you're like, I'm still in that body. I'm still of that body, right?
Yes.
I'm not in the body. I'm of the body.
So we don't always consider how our physical, tangible self is very connected to our core subconscious message.
Wow. I don't think anybody's ever thought really of, like, for real. So what would you say, see, like, how do we build a connection, I guess,
Mm. Mm.
with this, like, what's in this mirror? Because I'm always saying, like, y'all are spending too much time looking at, like, on other people's papers. You need to look on your own paper. You need to look in
Aisha,
your own
yeah,
mirror.
hold on, because I say that all the time. I'll be like, eyes on your own paper, right? In other words, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. What's going on with you this morning? So I get up about 4:30 and go work out. So I've been doing this for about 2 months now with my trainer, just because it was what I decided I need to do for me. And I'm trying to grow a booty. That's the other
Okay.
part.
Grow it, not buy it, huh?
Okay, grow a booty. So this morning, like, I'm walking past the mirror and I go, "Oh, look at you." I said, "I love you, little booty." And I walked off, right? So there is this part of us, I think, that is waiting anxiously for us to just accept us.
Ooh, you might have just released some people from some stuff, like,
That's
just
just
from
that's
that,
just
right?
waiting. That's just waiting for like, I look in the mirror sometimes and I go, "Hey, lips," because I didn't always like my lips, right?
Mm.
Or the shape of my nose, right?
Mhm,
The
mhm.
things that I don't necessarily or didn't necessarily like or accept about myself, or they don't look like the girls on Instagram. Let's be real about this, right? When you are constantly scrolling and there is a look that is preferred, you absolutely will interject that into how you see yourself. That's everybody. That's just how the brain works. So if that's how the brain works naturally, we have to be even more intentional and even more fortified to pay attention to the images that line up with who we are at our core. So I can't follow everybody on Instagram.
And that I have so many different girlfriends, and we all look different. And I maybe because I have so many friends, so many girlfriends, they all look so different. And then we can
Mm.
all easily embrace, like, the beauty that they individually have. Like, if they wear something cute, or, okay, booty, like, today, like, this what
Right.
you're doing. So, like, being
Yes.
able to do that, I think, has made for a healthy relationship with my own self.
Yes.
um and so, not everybody has that, and I do acknowledge and
Yes.
understand that that isn't something that everybody has. But if you, like you were saying, see, like, finding those things about yourself to acknowledge and, like, big up, because
It
we don't
can
have to
just
wait for
be
other people to big us.
no, you will be holding your breath forever, right? And the
Hello.
thing, like, I'm learning, that thing that most people, maybe you were teased for or teased about, when you become a woman and you take a hold of your own personhood, right? And you're fully autonomous, you get to reclaim that, right? Like, I used to always get teased like, "Oh, you got a Tyra Banks forehead." Well, baby, if this is the forehead and it's Tyra Banks, because Tyra Banks at the time, she was doing her thing, right? She
Right.
is iconic.
Right.
Okay.
So you said
All
I'm an
right.
icon. I got you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Oh,
kindly. Right. So
thank
I think
you.
that there is a there is an untying that we go through. Like, it's really a forgiving of yourself. I'm sorry because I held you to standards that were not for us, not made for us. I'm sorry, self. Come on in here. Let me
'Cause
love
and
on you.
it has to start with you. It has
It
to start with
has
you.
to. It
One of the
has
things
to.
so one of the things, I have told clients, well, they'll come in, we'll do their hair, and I'm like, this is in the mirror. So I was like, is there something I can change or make different? And, like, I don't like this. And it's like, what don't you
Mm.
like? Is it that you don't like the way we styled it? You don't like the cut?
Mm-hmm.
You don't like the curls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't like the curls. Okay. Now I cannot fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, even from that perspective, like that's out of my pay grade.
Okay.
You are now seriously like you
Like,
need to
I'm not.
see, you need to see C. Seriously. Because
Yeah, because there's a block for a lot of people, and that block didn't start yesterday. That block was years ago, early childhood, right? The messages, whether they were from your family, from your peers, from society, your community. Um, I remember people in my family, because my daughter, when she was small, I just would twist her hair
mhm,
or put, beads and little things
yeah.
in it. And them saying like, well, just when you going to relax it? What do you mean when? She will learn to accept how she was born into this world.
So they
And
want it. Go ahead.
I remember vividly, and I went to bat because I said, now if she grows up and she decides I want to do something different, that is her choice. But I will not place upon her these standards that are toxic, damaging, and not edifying to who she looks like when she
Mhm.
rolls out of the bed.
So people like to project their
Absolutely.
discomfort on you. Just like that, when we were talking about Jackie Aina and the lace, that
Mm-hmm.
person was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
She was not.
she was good.
She was Gucci,
Yeah, because
actually.
you said like she was with Rihanna. So, I mean, like, what do you want? What more,
And
honey?
even
The
if she
last thing
was
I'm
that,
worried about is lace lifting when I am with Riri.
right. And I'm not sure. Let me also state that it may not have been that. I don't know, somebody will come in the comment section and correct me, but even still to point out something, right? And somebody said something to me recently because I have dealt with some stuff on the internet, and the somebody wrote me in the comment section on my personal page is like, you're looking for people who can't even extend their own selves grace to extend you grace. How can they give you grace and they don't even give grace to themselves? And that comment forever changed me. If you hear, thank
Mm,
you, because that was a word. So we're
mm-hmm.
asking people, and we're not actually, we don't need their permission,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't even need that. We're not asking anybody anything.
Oh
We're just
no.
showing up and they're
Mm-mm.
uncomfortable. And guess what? They got to deal with it. That ain't my problem. Okay. Ain't got nothing to do
Mm.
with me.
Okay.
Nothing. I had a girlfriend once tell me, when my hair was, I cut it off. I had a fade. You know what I mean? My hair
Okay.
grew out. And so my friend goes, "Ooh, E, I'm so glad." That's what my friends call me. "Ooh, E, I'm so glad your hair grew back." I said, "Were you uncomfortable?" Because I was fine. I was fine. In fact, I was having a great time when my hair was that
Oh,
short because for some reason everybody thought they could talk to me. I don't care if they were
I've
young,
heard.
old.
I've heard that because there's a level of confidence that comes with that, and many men pick that out. Suitors will absolutely like
Everybody,
flock.
everybody, and old men, young men, they was of all walks, races, and
Mhm.
socioeconomic backgrounds. They did not matter. I remember I was downtown in Chicago one time trying to cross the street. This man was like, "Step back, you too close to the curb."
Okay,
He was like
protection.
protecting me. I said, "Oh, they out here protecting me without my hair. I don't need no hair to get protected."
That's But you know what? We do believe that in order for me to be acceptable, I need to have a beat face every day.
You don't.
Everything needs to be perfect. I need to be without a flaw.
No, you don't. You don't. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you though. I'm the girl that is definitely like polish, right?
Mhm,
I'm all about
mhm.
polish. Polish does not, and you probably get this because you're in the DMV area. Respectability polish is different from just
Quite,
being polished, right?
quite.
Because I think the whole respectability politics conversation is really a DMV thing. Like, if I had to
Sure.
put it somewhere in a region,
Ooh.
it started, initiated there. I'm not saying it's the only place, but I'm saying it's a big, big influence, right?
Mhm.
But you like even still like because we had to talk about this before we break. There's this whole thing about just wearing your hair natural. What is that though? Like being natural doesn't mean I wake up out of the bed and just roll out of the
No,
bed. You know what I mean? Like
no, 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 no,
like
no, no,
that's
no.
not what it like. And when
No.
people say like, "Oh, I just want to wear my hair natural," like wear it natural how? Because even if if our hair is straight, we just didn't roll out of the bed. with the straight
Correct.
hair and went on with the deck. Like we didn't just do that. There was
Correct.
some primping, so a little bit of priming,
Right.
even if it was thrown back in a ponytail. You know what I
And
mean?
that's a great point, because just what you said, I think, is the reason why a lot of women who started their natural journey kind of like fell back or reverted to whatever they were doing before, because the thought is, oh, I'm natural, I just should be able to wake up and go.
I don't know what that looks like for any group of people. I was in the store recently and I'm just looking around because this whole idea is like, we don't get to wear a messy bun. No, we wear messy puffs. We wear messy puffs.
And
There
that's
is no messy bun.
okay.
It's a messy puff.
And it's
If we're talking about
okay.
natural hair, it's a messy bun. And when I was in the store where I was at, I saw several white women, and literally everybody had on like sweats this day or like some type of athletic gear,
Mm-hmm.
ponytails pulled up, back, wherever, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that is what they have the capacity for.
Mm-hmm.
Our capacity can be that, but if we're expecting our hair to look like the messy bun and the on the
Mm-hmm.
Vogue website or the Marie Claire's website, we're
Right.
looking in the wrong place for what looks like a messy bun, or in our case, a messy puff, because
Right.
that's what we're getting. We're not
Right.
getting a messy bun.
And that's the thing that we need to be very clear about, is expectation. If you have the
Mhm.
expectation that is not within the context of Black culture, you're
That's
always going to be disappointed.
the,
You're always going to be let down, right? You're not going to get the end result that you desire. But if you understand how we operate within our collective, then you get the messy puff, right? Like, you understand that. But I think that we still ingrained in us are these ideas and expectations that are based in the culture of the majority.
it very much is. It's colonialism at its finest. I always say that westernized beauty. It's funny. My neighbor across the street, she is actually Arabic, and maybe I think she said white. Her and I
Mm-hmm.
talk all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about hair. It came up, and well, when I told her what I do or whatever, and we started talking about you know haircuts and everything. And I'm saying all this to say that she has her own set of hair issues, right? She can't find, well,
Mm-hmm.
she finally found a hairstylist. Okay, she's fine with that. But when we were talking, this was the point I was making. When we were talking, and she was telling me about her hair, and I could see it. She has very dense,
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
coarse side strand hair.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in America, we have all been impacted by westernized
Everybody.
beauty standards.
Everybody.
Everybody. It is not just Black culture. And I'm not that I'm trying to decenter Black culture, because I hate when people
Mm-hmm.
do that. But I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to point out that
Mm-hmm.
westernized beauty is being inflicted on a lot of us.
Absolutely.
And we are not even looking like inside. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we can't, right? Because we're the only natural in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
we're the only natural in our family trying.
Right.
And
Right.
so we seek these spaces, which Black Girl Curls has become a space, and there's other spaces online to find out what we could be doing. But unfortunately, the hair that looks like ours is the hair we're not seeing a lot of because of our interpersonal biases.
Which is so interesting, because I remember, like, there'll be, and again, we're back to the chart, right?
Yeah.
But anytime you go on to take a test, like they'll say, learn your pattern, etc.
Yes. Yeah.
Two of these pictures don't look like me or my friends. So how did we now, this space that we created for us, which still has its growing pains and still has some areas where support is needed, now we already are being almost burdened and expected to extend this to
Mhm.
other cultures who, if they could, they would never want to identify with having to use products like a Black woman uses. So I find it interesting that even as we're trying to manage this space still and feel safe and feel comfortable, that there are some some places that want to kind of co-op, right?
And you know what's interesting about that conversation is that I took a class the first year when I started working behind a chair. And it was a white class. It was a white curly class. All the models were white. If you would have put a blindfold on me, I could have been in a black space. The stories
Really?
were the exact same. And when I say exact same, I
Whew.
mean not to the letter.
Of
There's some
course.
shared experiences with folks in the curly hair space.
That's interesting too, because when you see old movies,
Yeah.
it's usually if I guess maybe even a white woman, if there's a wave in her hair, she is being told you need to go to the salon,
Yes,
so it
to
can
manage
be
it.
straightened,
Yeah,
right?
manage.
Or get a not a I don't know if it was a relaxer.
They do perms.
Okay, and
The curly perms were a thing, but like having curly hair in a space that has centered straight hair, just for everybody, right?
Right.
One girl in the class cried. One of the models cried.
It's even European standards being placed on
Europeans or non-Europeans.
Child.
So like it's that deep. I had a client recently who was a Hispanic client. Actually, Hispanic girls, and Hispanic girls don't send me up for this one, but I've had 2 Hispanic clients in my career behind a chair, and I was talking to the one recently, and I was like, "How did you find me?" You know what I mean? She had hair down to her hip, very loose. Everybody's got tight hair on my page, okay? Right. And she was like, "Nope, I found you. I felt comfortable coming to see you because I knew you could do something that I could not." And I said, "Okay." And then I found out from her, she's like, "I always follow Black girls for hair."
And you know what? I was gonna say, because we know about our Afro Latina sisters, like that's a whole right.
Yes.
But yes, within those communities, even when you mention your neighbor, there is confusion around, like it's almost like they're stuck in the middle.
Everybody's stuck in this weird place. And then you only have so many hairstylists that get it, right? You only got so many of these hairstylists that actually get it. But also while you're getting it, or because it takes a while for people to get certain parts of it, like understanding like how the hair lays, how it grows, how the haircut for curly hair cutting is a whole nother.
That piece right there has been so hard, and I'm very, very iffy about who I let cut my hair, because I'm like, are you cutting my hair for me to wear it straight? Or are you cutting my hair so that my curls are stacked properly so I can wear my hair curly? Oh, well, it'll be fine. No.
I mean, and there's like this inner conversation, right, in our community as hairstylists about the curly cut. Like there's like, first of all, I'm gonna say this: there are multiple independent hairstylists who are teaching haircuts, curly cutting. I know about 10 of them off the top of my head. I know 10. I actually used to teach as well. So you have 10 like these independent, right? The brands are just starting in the last 5 years to create curly cut education in their systems.
Wow.
And while people are like, oh, precision this and precision that, and this is another conversation for another day, and this is a conversation definitely for like stylist community wise, but you have the like, oh, curly cuts don't do this and that, blah blah blah, and all of us are really dealing with hair that hasn't been to the salon in quite some time. With people who have ideas about it that they have formed from a community of people who had no leader.
Oh, wow. So that means that they're probably ill-informed, right? Like there's probably a lot of deficits when we talk about that.
Right. And I listen, I'm gonna speak for on behalf of the hairdressing community. We missed the mark. And I came into this, but the hairdressing community missed the mark when it came to hair. And then the community decided that whoever has the most hair must know the most, because we're judging. We only allow people who have an abundance of hair. And when I say abundance, not just having a lot, because I have a lot of hair and still I get a lot of flack. But they got to have a certain amount of hair, certain length of hair, and it need to be shiny in order
because
for me
that says that you're doing everything you're supposed to do.
Yes, and I want to do that.
That's not everybody's hair, though.
It's not everybody's hair. And so that is what that we are up against. What I do love about where things are going now is where children are with their hair. I did a project last summer where I worked with some kids. We did a guide specifically for parents and caregivers, and the relationship that the kids had with their hair was really it was amazing. Like to see the relationship they had with their hair. None of them, because somebody asked us, like, did you have to convince them to like their hair? I was like, no, I have to convince adults.
Beautiful. Yes, right. So you're seeing that generational gap between what is considered to be proper, respectable, easy to deal with kids saying, oh, this is just me. Look at me. Look at my waves. Look at my curls. Look at my freckles. Look at my red hair. Look at my, my whatever. Because it's really the adults that says, you're not okay.
You're not okay.
Your hair isn't okay. We need to find, and even like, because my son has grown his hair out on the top. And so I'm very careful, even when I'm managing and taking care of his hair, not to say things like, even if I'm tired, right?
Yes.
Not to say things that he will internalize as his hair being an issue.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, because we had this morning, I was like, see, because he likes to take his hair out and run around and shower with it and do all these things, but his school requires it to be braided. And so I was like, you waited until the last minute to comb your hair out so I could braid it? Okay, give mommy a few moments, right? Because I was frustrated.
Yes.
But I didn't want my frustration to cause him to think mommy's frustrated because my hair.
Yes.
I didn't want that. And I think a lot of times parents say things like, ooh, look at your hair. It's this. Or, wow, I don't know. It's just a little too curly for me. I don't know. We got to find somebody to help. Or we make the hair this burden, this monster, this thing that has to be tamed and controlled and put into its place. And we then learn, oh, I don't think my hair is acceptable here.
Yeah. I mean, even hairdressers are guilty of this, right? And having to manage the conversation around clients' hair. I mean, and it's funny because I got a lot of people who had as much hair or more hair than me coming to see me. And I was like, girl, but never burdensome, right? Because I had to choose my words because I know the things that they heard, because I've heard those things.
Right.
Like, but I'm like, girl, well, you know what's up with this hair. Because
like I've been, and God bless the two women I trust with my hair, because in the moments where I've had to like find another stylist, or like, you know how we go through that whole thing, I remember sitting in a chair and the comments being made about my hair making me feel this big. Right? So not this person who has a license, who has experience, and who has training being able to say, okay, here's what we can do, but making disparaging comments like, oof, that's going to be extra. Ooh, you want the, like, are you not working? I'm confused. Like, am I bothering?
Because what you can't do is you have no control of the amount of hair you either have on your scalp or the length at which your hair grows. Those are two things you don't have control over. But also as a client, right? Finding somebody who doesn't get overwhelmed, because sometimes hairstylists get overwhelmed. Finding a stylist who is not one to get overwhelmed by your hair is important.
Right.
I don't know what stylists
And
can do to say, like, girl, if you got this much, don't bring it to me, like, because
I
that
mean,
would help.
they really could, right? Because I do see where it'll be like, oh, if your hair is past your shoulders, it's an extra $50. Well, then maybe you only do people's hair who are shoulder and shorter.
And because that's what that says, right? But I mean, not a lot of clients can read that. Like you have enough. You're like, okay, no, that she
Yeah, I'm
not for
like,
me. If you got to charge me extra for the hair that grow out of
like,
my scalp,
no,
as opposed to
no.
this is a thing, and this is again inside hairstylist thing, but charging a overall, no matter what length the hair is, because everybody's not paying you for the amount of hair you do. Everybody's paying you for your skill set to be able
Yes,
to do whatever hair we bring to your chair. So
yes.
I don't have a fee for like if your hair is this and your hair is that. That girl that came in with that waist length hair paid the same thing that a new client who has hair here above their ear or above their eyebrow. They all paid the same price. So yeah, as a consumer, you guys like don't have to choose a stylist that charges for extra length. Find somebody who is, what's the word that people like to use now? Not it's a word that people like to use, but someone who makes space
Okay.
for not them, because it does sound to me like if I have to pay extra because my hair is long, it's sounding like burden.
Yeah, it's like, well, do you know what to do with my hair? Do you like, are you going to get frustrated and say, oh, you need a trim?
Right. Like, nope, that's not even a hairstylist for you. Like, and so if anything y'all took away from this conversation is one that we own our feelings about
Yes.
our hair. We don't have to accept. I have a friend that always, we were talking and go like, I reject, you do like a recondo on me, like I reject what you're saying. We can literally reject things that people are saying to
We
us
absolutely can.
about our hair or anything for that matter.
That's the beauty of it. So in DC, I don't know if this place is still open, but it was, and this was like back in like the early 2000s, and I think it was called like Cornrows and Company. And she actually had what I had my first time seeing, like a natural hair care book.
Okay.
But I remember I would go there and they were so patient with my daughter's hair because they would do all these beautiful rope twists. It was so refreshing to be in a place that didn't complain about its natural existence. It was, it was less traumatizing.
Because spaces like that can exist.
Yes.
And we don't have to squeeze ourselves, force ourselves into spaces that are not warm or comfortable or welcoming to to us, just to our entire being. So if it's like, we got to know when to remove ourselves. You know
and
what I mean?
we don't have to be tolerated anywhere. If you aren't celebrating these curls, kinks, coils, waves, whether it's like you said to your ear down to the waist, let me remove myself. Let me take my being, right? Because hair is an extension of your person.
Yes.
Which is why I don't like those videos where parents cut their children's hair as punishment. I see them as abusive.
That's abusive.
100%.
That's abusive.
100%.
Because again, we just talked about how dramatic of an experience. That's not only dramatic, but trauma. So you've put trauma all together, coupled with they're never going to forget this experience.
Never.
Like
never.
it's ingrained in their brain, like forever.
Because
and also
it said I don't have control over my body. It's a violation of the body.
It is. It is.
So we have a lot of trauma and maladaptive beliefs around hair that are so preventable. They're so preventable.
I can see that. I could
It's
definitely
so
see that.
presentable,
We got
right?
work to do. We just have work to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the work is not just
Absolutely.
on people like us showing up. Like the work is on getting to people like us who are
Yes.
available that
Yes.
can help you
With
through
open
that
arms.
with open
With
arms.
open arms, right? To just
Right.
it's really a come as you are type space. And I think that that more than anything, that is what we are missing. You don't have to be already together.
No.
Just come. Let's support.
Let's support it. So see what can like people like get with you? Are you taking
Absolutely.
clients?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
how can they find you?
So my clinical website is revitatherapyandwellness.com, or my little handle, C Anderson Live. That's on all of social media.
Okay.
But yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna drop that down in the comment section. You guys can find C. If you're looking for me, you guys can find me at blackcurlmagic.com. Am I taking appointments? I do see people in salon like once a week. You have to go to my personal site, and I'll put this in the comment section at aishastrickland.com if you like to book an appointment with me. I thank you so much. See, this was so eye-opening. I don't think this will be the last time we have a conversation
Okay.
because we talked about a lot of different pieces as it
Yes.
pertains to like the wellness
Layers.
and the like our hair and our wellness. And I think there's so many, like there's some other stuff that we could just like even talk about just a little bit further, just and let us know like in the comment section if there's something else that you want to hear see talk about that you feel like you needed to hear more on. Drop us a comment and we will explore how we can bring that conversation. But I really appreciate having this conversation. Like I said, I have conversations like this with individuals, but also in the salon, but also
Yeah.
there's a mindset thing, right?
Yeah,
Because again, some
absolutely.
people are as superficial as I am, shallow. I can go there when I need to go there because people have to be able to, in order to hold space, they have to have space.
Yes. Absolutely.
The pandemic, if you saw me during the
Absolutely.
pandemic, just give me grace because we was all doing the best that we could
The
at the
best.
time. Ooh, we was doing our
Because
best.
that dip polish I tried on my nails by myself.
No, no
Mm-mm,
good. You like, I'll wait till they open those shops
mm-mm,
back up.
mm-mm,
I'm
I'm
gonna
good.
wait. I'm waiting it out. It's okay.
I'm
It's
good.
okay. But no, thank you so much for joining us, or thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for facilitating this conversation because again, I'm not a therapist and I don't try to play one online either.
I understand.
Stay in my lane.
Okay,
But
stay.
you definitely put words, phrases, and gave, I guess, more meaning to, I think, some things that people are actually experiencing that they, weren't aware of.
Beautiful. And that's just what it's about. It's really community, and it's really about the sharing and the relaying of information. So thank you for allowing me
Oh,
to
absolutely.
share these things. I
You're always
enjoyed
welcome
you.
back. You're always welcome back. And when I'm in DC, I need to see you in person.
Okay, because are you in Chicago?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so when I come to the shy,
You
then
can find me in Chicago.
yes,
Yes, you can.
yes,
Okay,
wonderful.
y'all. Thank you for joining the Black Girl Curls podcast, where we talk a little bit, we get a little deeper than hair sometimes, where we are celebrating the beauty, the culture, and the lived experiences because they're so necessary to talk about and address. So until next episode.